There is an effort being made by the current administration and by the people surrounding it to redefine what treason is, and it's genuinely menacing. When we see these authoritarian slides, we have to understand that they're often slow slides. It's the slow erosion of what it means to have a truly free and independent press, for example. And it gets chipped away at a little bit at a time by the idea of suing media outlets, journalism licenses, stricter White House press pass policies, the smears about fake news. It's a long list, but they're really slow attempts, less and less frequent press briefings by the White House press secretary. It's a slow process that you have to observe from afar rather than day to day. Another example, the slow erosion of the independence of our branches of government and the systems of checks and balances, including the investigative power of the House and Senate, ignoring subpoenas, getting your own attorney general in there to manage the results of an investigation into you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's important to realize that these things happen slowly, and it can be, I don't even know if this is an actual thing, but you often hear about the frog that goes into a cold pan. You start heating up the pan, heats up slowly, the frog doesn't realize it's being burned. That may not even work. Maybe the frog just jumps out when it gets hot, but that's the metaphor that I think many of us are familiar with. And there is now a slow but very sure and creeping slide to redefine treason by the administration. Yesterday, Donald Trump published or retweeted an article that quotes Liz Cheney, the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, as saying that statements made by agents investigating Donald Trump could be treason. And in the linked interview, Liz Cheney even says that FBI agents who investigated Trump could have been attempting a coup. These are attempts at redefinition. If you control the language, you control everything. I forget where that quote is from. They are trying to control the language. Treason. Treason is the crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. That is not what the investigations into Donald Trump sought to do. They certainly weren't attempting to kill the sovereign, and they were not attempting to overthrow the government. They were investigating whether Donald Trump specifically committed crimes. A coup is a sudden, violent, and illegal seizure of power from a government. Of course, those investigating Donald Trump didn't attempt to do that. And if Donald Trump were to leave, there would be no seizure of power from a government. It would likely be Mike Pence takes over, although there are other scenarios as well. So what you have to understand is that they are systematically trying to change the meaning of these things in order to favor their position on whatever, in this case, these investigations. And in fact, Donald Trump was asked about his treason claim recently, a few days ago, and look at what happened. And in further fact, I should mention, as far as Liz Cheney is concerned, Liz Cheney, if she wants to talk about treason, the closest thing to treason she might be well positioned to comment on would be the war crimes that her dad, Dick Cheney, participated in within the Bush administration. And even then, it is dubious whether you could actually make a treason case there, as many legal experts have said. So here's Donald Trump asked about treason's punishable by death. Who exactly are you talking about?
The Constitution says treason is punishable by death. You've accused your adversaries of treason. Who specifically are you accusing of treason?
Well, I think a number of people. And I think what you look is that they have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person. If you look at Comey, if you look at McCabe, if you look at probably people higher than that, if you look at Strzok, if you look at his lover, Lisa Page, his wonderful lover, the two lovers, they talked openly. You know, they didn't use their private server because they didn't want to get caught, so they used the government server. That was not a good move. He talked about the insurance policy just in case crooked Hillary loses, and that didn't work out too well for them. So you look at them, they want an insurance policy so that should she, for any reason, lose, remember, 100 million to 1. Maybe he said 100 million to nothing. But should she lose, we'll have an insurance policy and we'll get this guy out of office. And that's what they said, and that's what they meant. That's treason. That's treason. They couldn't win the election, and that's what happened. And that's what's happening right now, because without the treason word, I guess, but that's what's happening now.
James Comey, John McCain, Peter Strzok, who was working for Mueller and was dismissed, when politically biased private text messages went public. As far as Democrats not thinking they can win without trying to remove Trump forcibly or whatever, it's the opposite. It's been Trump who has been saying Democrats can't win fair and square in 2020, which is how Trump has been hinting at the possibility of not accepting the results of the election if he loses. This is complete and total projection. And there's a real question here. I don't know the answer to this. If a president publicly accuses you of treason by name, is there any recourse? Is that defamation? The act of damaging the good reputation of someone, slander or libel? When the president says that specific individuals have committed a crime, but not just any crime, the crime of treason, is there any recourse that those individuals have? And is that really where we are right now? We've got to take control back. There's no other way around it. This is becoming extremely dangerous. And these redefinitions should be concerning to everybody who's been paying attention to what's going on. And this is not happening by accident. This is a concerted effort to start throwing around the word treason, particularly at a time when what we are learning is that there was wrongdoing by Trump and everybody around him. It's an attempt to distract from that and instead say the investigators are the individuals who were treasonous. We can't fall for it, and we've got to act sooner than later, November of 2020, in order to stop this insanity.